Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fascinating, the daily habits and maybe some surprising mindsets of people who are highly creative. We all wonder sometimes, is creativity just something you're born with? Or can you actually learn it, build it up? So our mission in this deep dive is to pull out the best bits, the real nuggets, from a couple of great sources. We've got Mark Chernoff's 7 Things Creative People Do Every Day and 10 Habits of Highly Creative People by Scott Barry Kaufman and Carolyn Gregoire. Basically, we want to give you a shortcut to understanding what keeps that creative spark alive, and hopefully some things you can actually use.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say up front, these sources aren't talking about creativity like some, lightning bolt out of the blue. It's really framed more as a result of consistent habits, routines, specific ways of thinking, actually.
Mhm.
And creativity itself, it's so broad, right? It could be a personal discover, something just for you, or it could be, famous art. And science seems to back this up. We're all kind of wired to create in some way.
Okay, so if it's not a lightning bolt,
Mhm.
where does it start? The sources seem to really zero in on um, intentionality,
Yeah.
purpose, this idea of committing to meaningful pursuits. It sounds like more than just finding any why, though.
Oh, definitely. It's about finding something that's so authentic that it just keeps you going, even when things get tough or, external rewards aren't there. It's not just follow your passion blindly. The sources suggest it's more rigorous, like a real process of self-discovery, and then deep commitment, treating creativity like a job or a core part of your life. That's a big step. And it needs that excitement, sure, but also realistic plans and just plain hard work. Finding that harmony, passion aligned with who you are, that seems key.
Right, that distinction, blind passion versus authentic purpose. That's really interesting. Okay, so you've got the drive. How do you keep it going day to day? The sources talk a lot about rhythm, daily rhythms, establishing healthy baseline routines and triggers. And the examples are great. Maya Angelou, she apparently only wrote in these small, sort of anonymous hotel rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack Kerouac, touching the ground 9 times. That's specific.
Yeah.
And then there's this client, Faye, mentioned in one piece. Her trigger was getting in an Uber at 6 a.m. to go to the gym. The Uber ride itself was the key.
Exactly. It's like these little entry points, these triggers, they actually save mental energy. Think of them as, I don't know, secret passwords for your brain. They signal, okay, it's time, bypasses the block, gets you into the flow. So it frees up that cognitive load for the actual creative thinking, which makes you wonder, right? For you listening, what
Yeah.
gets you into your rhythm? And these routines, they can change, of course, but the point is having some structure that feeds your creative mind.
Yeah, those little rituals we all develop, maybe without even realizing it. Okay, so intention gets you started, routine keeps you moving,
Right.
but where did the new ideas come from? The sources really highlight learning from others and, alongside that, cultivating self-awareness, specifically how creative people observe mentors and study experts. And what's really interesting is, yeah, lots of successful creators had mentors, but apparently just watching someone, even without talking to them directly,
Right.
that can be incredibly motivating. That, hey, they did it, maybe I can too, kind of feeling.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
It absolutely is. I mean, look at Mozart. He spent almost a year studying Bach's music. Bach, totally different style, much more structured in some ways, but Mozart opened himself up to it,
Yeah.
absorbed those possibilities. And you see how that plays out. Studying others diversifies your own work. You get new ideas, new approaches. It helps you refine your own unique thing. It really supports that reader comment one of the articles mentioned. Only God creates out of nothing. The rest of us create out of something. We build on what's there. And this links directly to a personality trait called openness to experience. It's actually the biggest predictor of creative achievement. It's this drive to explore, both your inner world and the world outside. Trying a new hobby, taking a different way home. Sounds small, maybe.
Yeah.
But these things increase what psychologists call integrative complexity. It's like
Yeah.
your ability to see connections between things others miss, to see patterns, not just scattered pieces. That's where innovation happens.
Seeing the connections, not just the pieces. I like that analogy.
Right.
Okay, speaking of inner worlds, another habit that jumped out was trusting your own intuition. The sources basically say, yeah, intuition is real. It's your subconscious mixing past experience with gut feelings about right now. It's that little voice, listening to it even when logic or other people are saying something different. If your gut says no, there's usually a reason, right?
That's a perfect lead into the fast brain versus slow brain idea. Your fast brain, that's the intuition, the quick pattern spotting part, great for generating ideas, making those unconventional links. Then your slow brain comes in. That's the analytical, deliberate part, essential for refining ideas, checking them, planning how to make them real. You really need both. They work together. It shows how, complex our thinking really is.
So it's not just about constantly doing things then. Some of the most effective habits seem a bit passive, like embracing downtime and new experiences. Let's talk daydreaming. We're always told it's lazy, a waste of time.
Bad habit.
But creative people, according to this research, actually schedule time for daydreaming. Apparently, neuroscientists found it activates the brain's default mode network, the same network involved in imagination, in creative thought. It helps with creative incubation,
Yeah.
kind of letting ideas simmer subconsciously. Maybe that is why we get good ideas in the shower.
Precisely. And that underlines the value of solitude, having that metaphorical room of one's own. What's really cool is that focusing inward, like in reflection, uses a different brain network than when we're focused outward on tasks. When we're busy externally, that imagination network often gets, suppressed. So those aha moments rarely happen when you're deep in a spreadsheet. Society doesn't always value solitude, but it seems crucial for accessing those inner creative resources. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what about mindfulness? That's interesting too. Some kinds of mindfulness, maybe the kind focused on emptying the mind, might actually hinder idea generation. But something called open monitoring meditation, that seems to increase activity in the imagination network. It allows for that constructive mind wandering while also boosting attention. Kind of the best of both worlds.
That balance seems really important. Inner focus, outer input. On the outer input side, creatives also schedule in new experiences. It's this willingness to push their boundaries, maybe even in small ways, like talk to someone new. It shakes up routine, gives perspective, and it helps get around fear. Fear seems like a huge block. Like one source said, growth happens at the edge of your comfort zone.
And that connects beautifully to the idea of imaginative play, but for adults. Bringing back that sense of curiosity, of playfulness, can actually transform how we work. Research backs this up. Mixing work and play helps learning and creativity. For adults, too, not just kids. That intrinsic joy fuels inspiration.
Okay, finally, there's this really powerful, almost paradoxical habit, turning adversity into advantage. It's kind of amazing how many great creative works came out of really tough times, personal challenges, even tragedy. There's this whole field now, post-traumatic growth, looking at how people use hardship not just to survive, but to grow creatively, intellectually.
Yeah, it's a potent idea. Problems force creativity, don't they? You have to find new solutions. When your old view gets shattered, you're kind of forced to see things with beginner's eyes again. That forced reset can be incredibly valuable long term. And this might link to sensitivity, too. People who are maybe more sensitive, they perceive more details, more dots, as one source put it, more potential connections. And that can be channeled into art or innovation, which leads right into thinking differently. It's just a core trait, not being bound by convention, being okay with uncertainty, even failure. There's this researcher, Dean Keith Simonton, who found that counterintuitively, creative quality often follows quantity. The more ideas you churn out, the better the chance of hitting on something brilliant. So don't self-censor too early.
You don't judge, just create. It reminds me of that Walt Disney quote. Around here, we don't look backwards for very long. We keep moving forward because we're curious. Curiosity leads you down new paths. And maybe the point is, like the sources suggest, we're often terrible judges of our own stuff anyway. Our job isn't to judge, it's just to create. Make the thing, share it. So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you listening? I think the main message is creativity isn't magic. It's more like a muscle. You strengthen it with habits, with a curious mindset. It's about being intentional, setting up routines, learning from others, trusting your gut, allowing downtime and seeking new things, and even, maybe surprisingly, using tough times as fuel.
Absolutely. So maybe think about which of these habits kind of sparked something for you.
Yeah.
Was it scheduling daydreaming time, like Amanda in one of the articles, just 10 minutes? Or maybe creating a dedicated space, like Maureen, who books a hotel room for songwriting. What's one small thing you could try this week to nudge your own creativity?
And maybe a final thought to leave you with, going back to that reader comment. Only God creates out of nothing. The rest of us create out of something. So think about it. What's the something you already have? Your experiences, what you've seen, your unique way of looking at the world. What could you create from that today?